Do we want to go ahead? Sure. Okay. So, welcome. I'm Tammie Quick, and I'm on the board of the Community Market Food Co-op. And I want to thank everyone for their interest in the market, especially the recent interest. We're very excited to have new folks interested in our project. So, the community market is a startup project to open a grocery store in the Fuquay area that is owned by the community under the cooperative business model. This will be a grocery store that will feature as many local foods and products as possible, and it'll be an integral part of Fuquay's vibrant community and locally owned business scene. Tonight, we wanted to give you a brief and fun introduction to what the community owned grocery store is and what the community market can accomplish and all it can be if we all get involved. So one of the first things the original founding board used as a resource when starting the community market was the Food Cooperative Initiative, and we call it FCI. And tonight, to explain more about food co-ops in general and the community market in particular, is Jacqueline Hanna. She's from FCI, and she's going to take it from here.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Tammie. I'm going to go ahead and share some slides. I hope y'all don't mind. I'm picture oriented, so let me get this all up for y'all. So I'm honored to be here tonight. I'm actually here in Central Illinois, which is where I'm from, because our organization works with startup food co-ops all over the country. So FCI, as Tammie mentioned, Food Co-op Initiative, we're a little nonprofit that works with startup food co-ops like the community market all over the country. And I just want to give you a little introduction. Maybe you've never heard of food co-ops, never been to one, maybe you have, but talk about what a food co-op is. The community market is a food co-op, community-owned grocery store that is organizing, what it could be capable of, what it could do for your community, and kind of what's next in the process in developing a food co-op for your community. So, as I mentioned, that's me, Jacqueline Hanna. And just so you know, I'm not a paid consultant. We're a nonprofit. We offer expertise for free. So I'm not selling you on the concept of a food co-op because I work for the community market. I'm selling you hopefully on the concept because I think the community market is a strong project, and I've watched food co-ops open across the nation and do amazing things. So just a little bit about what a food co-op is. A lot of people are confused when they hear that phrase. They haven't run into it before. They're like, is that a nonprofit? Is that a food pantry? You give away free food? It is none of those things. It's not a farmer's market. It is a brick and mortar grocery store that is owned by the community. So it's not a nonprofit. It's also not a 501c3, meaning it's not a for-profit. It's not a nonprofit. It's also kind of not a typical for-profit business. It is incorporated under a cooperative business statute that says you run like a regular business, but if there's any, and it's owned by the community though, they're the shareholders. And if there's any profit from running, actual financial profit from running your co-op, it goes back to those community members. And food co-ops don't earn great, huge amounts of profit. They're there to benefit their community. And so you might get a little check back if you open your co-op and you're shopping at your co-op, but it's really organized around your values and principles and what you want your community to be like. And we'll talk a little more about how food co-ops change your community based on your values as a community. So it's not a new idea. There's actually over hundreds of food co-ops across the country, and the first ones were opened in the 1940s. There's many successful ones open today. So it's not some little trend. So it's larger than it seems, and we're also actually collectively food co-ops across the nation are the third largest buyer of natural foods in the nation, like up there just under like Whole Foods and such. So we are quite a force to be reckoned with and have been around for decades. So what can you expect if you open a food co-op? What would it be like? What would this grocery store be like? Some of you watching might have been to a food co-op maybe a decade or two ago and said, oh, that's one of those hippie places. And so I wanted to dispel that myth in case it's a thought you've had. Today's food co-ops are very modern, professional, amazing, great food-filled grocery stores that really have full selections of everything what you need. beautiful produce departments, but we also have all the shelf stable goods, your mac and cheese. We do a lot of giving back to the community. As you can see in some of these photos here, we have sales and deals. It's a normal grocery store in many ways. It meets all of your regular needs, has those departments, tends to be a little smaller than your larger full service grocery store, a little more cozy. And the products there sometimes are a little different because it's very focused on local and supporting local farmers and producers. These are actually some photos just from some of the food co-ops in your state. Maybe you have actually visited them, the Durham Co-op Market up in Durham, and of course, and then Weaver Street. And they have some photos from some of their stores here as well. So these are beautiful stores. They are centers of community. They're in downtown populated regions. People can walk. They offer all sorts of fun things from birthday cakes to watermelon. So, but at the heart, like, okay, so we could put in a lot of effort as a community, own a grocery store together and open it. Why would we do that? We have some grocery stores here. Like we have places we go to get groceries. But the great thing about food co-ops like the community market is that what they really are, in my opinion, forgive my terrible Photoshop skills, but I call them economic engines for change. You're actually taking money you would have spent at the grocery store anyway, buying great food, buying it from people, neighbors, people who work there who are lovely, friendly, know you. And then that money, instead of going right back out of the community that you spent on your groceries, stays in the community and builds your community, whichever values your co-op chooses it wants to aim its money towards. So in the case of Fuquay Varina, sorry, change that there. So, but what do you want that engine to be for? So your board of directors just recently had a survey, and if you're here, you took it. Thank you. And throughout the organizing of the community market, they've been pretty sure they knew what the community wanted from it, what its values were. But now they're over 500 owners and are much further down the road toward opening that grocery store. We'll talk about where exactly they're at in that process in a couple of minutes. They wanted to make sure that they were really hearing the community, both people who are already owners and newly interested people, that this co-op was going to be what they wanted it to be. And what they heard back is that what scored very high in the survey you participated in is that folks in Fuquay Varina want local food access. They want it year round. They want it convenient. They want a store experience. And they want to support local farms. They want to support other local businesses, which food co-ops do. They help build the economy. They sell products from other locally owned businesses. They want to help new local food businesses develop. Food co-ops are often the first place that small little businesses can share and sell their new product who aren't used to working through grocery stores. Big grocery chains won't give them that opportunity. That neighbor of yours who makes great little energy bars herself, that's, that little small farm that's just getting started and doesn't have a lot of volume, grocery stores won't work with them, but food co-ops will. And that really changes the local business economy and gives people opportunities and gives you access to all sorts of fun new products. And then what was also important coming out of that survey, we wanted to be an economic engine for local food access, supporting local business, helping local business. We also wanted the community market to be an economic engine for economic access for all. We didn't want to create a store that was just for certain people, but a store that everyone could afford to shop at while keeping close to our values. So very specifically knowing that's the kind of engine you want to build. So we pour that money into the co-op as our grocery dollars, and it's going to shoot out into the community, more local food access, supporting local farms. It's going to creating opportunities for new local businesses to grow. It's going to create all these great things with your dollars just by shopping there. What exactly could it fully accomplish, this little co-op, that grocery stores, community-owned grocery store that you would open together? Well, first off, and as in the very first year, we can estimate from what we know from national data from food co-ops all over the country and other ones that we've helped open recently, that you would immediately have 70 plus local farmers and producers selling their products year round at the community market. That's almost 4 times the number of local farmers and producers that are sold in those giant big box stores. That's opportunity for a lot of farmers and opportunities for us to get delicious food in an easy, convenient way. Also pretty amazing that you could really transform the local food shed because $3.5 million would be estimated. We know there's been a lot of business study done around if we open this grocery store here, what would it be its volume? What would it sell? Your board's done a lot of that work. And what's come out of those studies is that within 10 years, $3.5 million would go through the co-op directly to farmers, directly to local producers. Those are the kinds of dollars that allow farmers to go from farming most of the year to adding hoop houses and farming year round, that allow them to get production facilities and not just grow the strawberries, but make their own jam. It changes how much local food is available because farmers and producers can rely on those dollars coming month after month after month from their food co-op. They don't have to worry about the weather and whether it's going to be anyone who shows up at the farmers market. They can really grow. And I've seen it firsthand. I've watched farms grow, be able to bring their kids back to the farm because before there wasn't enough work for them. It's a pretty amazing thing, and it really changes your food shed. Some other things that you'll be doing could do with a food co-op, they do. We help grow what sometimes is called micro businesses. Again, this is little businesses that actually literally start, little businesses people try to start up because of the co-op, because now there's a place to sell that product that will work with them, teach them how to wholesale, and that's what food co-ops do. So an estimated 12 or more micro businesses would be created because of the community market just in its first 2 years of operation alone, and that number goes up and up in subsequent years. So this is just some of the awesome stuff you guys could do and make possible if you decide to really work together and open the community market. And I wanted to take just a moment to say food co-ops throughout the country have what we call food access programs. Many of them are called Food for All. Do you know any grocery store chain in town that when you use your EBT card says, oh, do you want to become an owner of the co-op? If you do, you get 5 to 10% off your groceries every day, just because you have economic need. That's what co-ops do. We actually give away 5 to 10% every day on the food if you have economic need. It's a really easy program that's offered throughout co-ops. There's lots of those other pieces to it as well, along with healthy recipes you can make cheaply from food co-op food, sometimes free classes about cooking in a healthy budget. But the big thing is that you have that access discount for people who have need every single day, making it so your very special, amazing, middle of the community food co-op is really someplace everybody can come and afford good, local, healthy food. I just wanted to show you real quick a couple slides. This is from a real startup, Green Tap Grocery. This is just an hour away from me here in Illinois. This was after their first year of operations. They measured what they had done for the community. And their goal was 70 local food producers in the first year. They were supporting 85. So they thought they would have about 500 products that were from within 100 miles of their store. They ended up having 1,257. So there's just this amazing impact that flows right away to the community and transforms the community just from shopping at this wonderful little grocery store. They also created a whole lot of access, which I know is a shared value you guys have. So they actually contribute over almost $25,000 to local charities, only local charities within their community. And they donate all sorts of food. And they also have what they have there, so the $1 produce vouchers, where actually if you spend SNAP or Link dollars on produce, the co-op matches it. You get a free $1 worth of produce for every $1 you spend on produce. Programs like this are at food co-ops across the country because we're not just grocery stores. We're grocery stores that put people before profit, that care about the community and put your values to work. Just a couple more things. So there is a model for developing food co-ops. As I said, we've got food co-ops all over the country, and over 150 have opened in the last 15 years alone. So we've seen a lot of them open, and there's actually a model that's been built that food co-ops follow, startup communities follow, that we know is successful and works in the vast majority of communities. And your team at the community market has been following this model. And there's 3 major stages to it. organizing, assessment, feasibility, and planning, and then implementation. And I hope you notice where the star is. It isn't overnight to open a food co-op. When you see Whole Foods say we're coming to the community or whatever grocery chain is in your area, they have studied and researched a location for 2 to 7 years. They've done all sorts of market study research. They've done negotiations on sites. They've lost sites and they get a new site. And then you're putting together a business plan. You're doing all that work yourself when you open a food co-op as a community. You really own the business. You start it, you organize it. And so it takes some years, but your team has already finished the whole organizing stage. So there's 2 to 5 years done. They've done a lot of the assessment, feasibility, and planning. They have assessed the feasibility of the business. Could we open one here and have it work? They've done market studies, they've done financial pro formas, and the answer is yes. There's bars that have to be met as a community, but yes, it is feasible here. So they've got that work done, check. You're joining at an exciting time, just sort of checking out the co-op at an exciting time, because now they're ready to really ask the community, we've got a feasible plan, we've got a lot of the plan built. Do we want to do this? Are we ready to go? And there's a lot to do in this next stage. But if we pull together, if lots of people become part of the co-op, volunteer for the co-op, put in a little time and energy, spread the word, we could quickly be into the implementation stage, which is the greatest fun because that is when your store starts getting built. All right, so real last thing here. All these yellow and green dots are co-ops that are open across the country and thriving. The purple dots are the ones communities trying to start food co-ops, and you can see yourself down there on the map. So does it work? Do people really open these little community grocery stores, put all those work, and then do they stay open? They do. As you can see, they're all over the country and thriving. And we know from our record in the last 15 years that 67% of all startup food co-ops that have ever opened, even the ones who, and there are a lot of them, never followed the model, just kind of threw some stuff on a shelf, didn't really, even those 67% are still open, where only 50% of all small businesses are open at that point. And actually food businesses, it's 41%. So it's already better odds, but those startup food co-ops that follow the FCI development model that we see open again and again, 2 have just opened in the last 2 months. Almost 90% of them are open 5 years later and thriving. People really do get this done, and it really does work. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I will get it back to the stop share and turn it back over to Tammie.
So as Jacqueline said, we're at an exciting time in the food co-op. We have over 500 owners, which are our neighbors, our co-workers, our friends, people we know, people we don't know, but it's our community has joined the co-op. Some of us are the board of directors. We're democratically elected from among the owners, and we are all volunteers. We donate our time to make this a reality, to help open this grocery store. And as Jacqueline said, we've completed a market study and a financial pro forma, and all the results say that we're on target, and they're all positive. So they all say that if we pull together, that we can successfully open and operate a community market. We call it the community market food co-op in Fuquay. But whether we do this or not is up to the community, because it is community owned. So if you'd like to help us in this effort, you can support us lots of ways. You can like and follow us on Facebook. You can spread the word, because that's how people learn about it. And word of mouth is, of course, the best advertising. If you believe in what you've heard tonight and you're not already an owner, you can join the community market and become an owner. It's $150, and you can go to our website, but we also have payment plans in our websites, www.communitymarket.coop. But you can also join us for our big meeting on June 9th. You can join us whether you're a member or not. And we're going to continue to outline the goals we need to meet this summer if we want to build this, if we want this thing to become a reality. We'll share all the ways that you can volunteer and contribute to helping us build this market. We'll talk about the next steps that we'll be taking together to make the store a reality. And you don't have to be an owner to join us for that meeting, but it's on June 9th. It's our annual meeting, and it's going to be virtual as well. So we want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and sharing your time with us. And we're going to have a video of tonight's event, so on our Facebook page and on our website, so that you can share it with people, and anyone you think that could share these values or have an interest in it, you can share the video with them, and maybe we can build a more vibrant food culture in our community together. So thank you.
And if anybody did have questions and wanted to unmute, we're happy to answer them. It's all right, I understand. I go to these things too, and then I would listen, I absorb, but I don't unmute. So we really appreciate you coming. I hope you guys all come out for that meeting in June. Your co-op's done some amazing organizing so far, and now it's going to take a lot more people saying yes, they want this and getting involved, but you absolutely can do it. So I hope a bunch of you come out. All right.